Good afternoon, Captain Lamb and distinguished board members. My name is BM1 John Minton, and I request to sit for my officer in charge review board for multi-mission afloat and multi-mission ashore command. Greetings, Toastmasters and distinguished guests, but there's none here. My opening statement is what I'd like to talk to you all about today. I felt it was prudent to make a speech about what really sparked me joining this club. To do that, I'm going to paint a picture for you. There I was, standing outside of a room. There were 7 board members in the room and 20 of my peers waiting for me to enter the room and deliver the opening remarks that you just heard, where I would then be questioned on the various policies and scenarios that would accompany me if I had command of my own unit. But there was a problem. I couldn't get through the door. Not because the door was small and I'm a fairly big guy, the door was average, but because the words on my notepad became illegible. I was losing my vision. My hands were shaking. My smartwatch was telling me I was exercising because of my fast heart rate. But I was not exercising. I was standing still. My fear and anxiety of being in that room was taking a firm hold. In that moment, it felt like I had a fight or flight decision to make. Any guesses to what happened? I did not go through the door. I did, however, come through the door behind me to be here today. Let me give you some of the history of how I got to the door. I've been in the Coast Guard for almost 14 years, or as I like to tell my junior members, I've been doing this since Moby Dick was a minnow. Doing things that I could never have imagined, from maintaining aids to navigation around the Hawaiian Islands and Samoa, supporting the fishing fleets of the North Atlantic off Long Island, New York, the international fishing fleets of other countries around the Pacific, Caribbean, from Iwo Jima to Solomon Islands, Ecuador, Fiji, Guam, Cuba, the list goes on. Battling some of the harshest weather the ocean can throw you, as well as seeing some of the most tranquil seascapes that Bob Ross himself wished he could paint. If this speech wasn't timed, I could easily get carried away and go off on a never-ending tangent of sea stories from those adventures. It's a side effect of being on the ocean for long periods of time. You have plenty of practice telling stories. Now, maybe a little bit more information on what lies beyond the door. Some of you are in the military, work closely with them, or are veterans. I feel maybe most of us are at least familiar with the military. I might be the only coastie here, though. As a coastie, I feel like we do things differently. The types of ranks are the same. You have commissioned officers, warrant officers, and enlisted non-commissioned officers. With that rank structure in place, all the units in the military have commissioned officers as their commanding officer. The unique thing about the Coast Guard and what we do differently, among many other things, is that they offer enlisted members, such as myself, the opportunity to take command of their own unit. They're called officers in charge, not commanding officers. That title is reserved for the commissioned officers. Nevertheless, the position and responsibilities are the same. They both command small boat stations, like Coast Guard Station Monterey and the Coast Guard Cutter Hawksville down the road. They do the same missions and vary from search and rescue, law enforcement, ports, waterways, coastal security, patrols, and maintaining aids to navigation that support ocean commerce. It really sets the Coast Guard apart from other military branches. In the Coast Guard, this is a very prestigious process that only small percentages of military members or enlisted members achieve, or even attempt, with a very high fail rate. We're talking about years attempting to pass the boards for most people. The process is daunting, to say the least, and what better candidate than someone with public speaking issues. I'm more scared of doing this than I am going out into the North Pacific storms that batter the Central Coast, like the one tomorrow. You know, the strong winter storms that destroy wharfs, erode cliffs, and churn up the oceans into a very nasty and unpleasant place to be. I go out there with a smile on my face, ready to help anyone in need. But when it comes to talking to you all in this room, or thinking about sitting for that board, it makes going out there into the North Pacific storms seem like I'm sitting next to a warm fireplace, living on a good Merlot. In the next few days, I will continue to prepare for the board, which coincidentally is this Tuesday, on Yerba Buena Island in San Francisco at 1:30 p.m. And I hope that on that day, I will in fact walk through the doors. Thank you.